We're done. We're done. We're done. Tom!
And now you're
Remove
broke.
that goddamn thing or we're done!
Anywhere you put your money, I'll take it, and I'll spend it. Can't scam your way out of this AIDS baby. Ha 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 ha.
Well, I'll give you guys a couple of guesses on who's on their way to the bank right now. So he just called me. I know that didn't look like a rage quit, but it just, the camera just freezes on whatever the last moment, so he's trying to grab the thing. It's funny, when I want him to rage quit, he takes forever to do it, and when I don't want him, it happens in an instant. So anyway, I know I did lose my cool with him a couple of times tonight, and it's just gonna happen sometimes because he's gonna reset tomorrow and be like, either he'll be like, hey, what's going on today? Boy, that was he won't even mention last night, or meaning right now, or he'll just be very apologetic. I know I was an asshole to you last night. I am sorry. I am this and I am that. So we'll see what version of him thing. Will there be a Mailbag Friday? Yes, of course there'll be a Mailbag Friday. Please don't take him seriously when he says, this is the last stream or whatever. It's nonsense. And by the way, don't take me seriously when I'm saying I'm done or whatever. I'm just saying that to him, and venting my frustration to him. We don't do the earpiece thing anymore. So, some of the things that I would normally say to him in an earpiece, I'm now just saying on the air. So that's part of it too. He was a little more controllable, but yeah, the senior stuff got to him tonight. The smoking stuff, and unfortunately, the Steelathon stuff. I thought we were kind of past that, but he's right back to I'm not going to Pottstown. That's the other thing. Don't believe Perry when he says he's not going to Pottstown. He of course is going to Pottstown. I'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to try not to stay up too late because I did have a really long day. As I said to Perry earlier, before the stream, I played a little bit of it on stream. I don't know how many people caught it because it was pretty early in the stream. I had my regular job this morning from 8 to whatever. 8 to about 4. And then I coach a T-ball team. So, and on Friday, it was funny. On Friday, we had practice. And I basically, right after the stream, I had to run out. Well, first thing I had to do was quickly get the stream back up because we had a copyright thing with the stream on Friday. So I couldn't leave it up. So I had to take it down and put it back up. And then I went over to practice, and I went from a 59-year-old man who doesn't listen to anything I say to a 5 and 6 year olds, a team of 5 and 6 year olds who don't listen to anything I say. And then I was just like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? So yeah, there was that. Garrett's 100% right. I'll get to that in a second. When he quit earlier, he wasn't answering my call. That's why I had to mute myself for a little bit because he wasn't answering the phone. So I had to log into his computer and talk to him over there and get him to answer the phone and all this other stuff. I wasn't screaming at him. I wasn't going I don't really do that anymore. I was just like, hey, what's the deal here? And are you really going to turn this down? Because what am I supposed to do? He already accepts offers that he didn't pay off. And then that just makes more work for me. So I got to now tell him, because all that stuff goes into his personal, Venmo or PayPal, whatever. What am I going to instruct him to pay people back because he reneged? That's never going to happen. So I want to get him back on more for you guys, because I feel like you guys will be really pissed off if he just leaves on a rage quit. And I don't like him getting away with that kind of behavior, because he does. And again, I've said this a million times. he doesn't get it when he's in the midst of it. He doesn't get the we're done. This is the last. It's like I'm done. He doesn't think logically. He's just, let's face it. He's a crazy person. That's why you guys tune into him. He's a crazy person. So you're asking a crazy person to be logical, and I'm guilty of it too. I get caught up in him. That's why, once in a while, I'll raise my voice or I'll, go at him or something like that just to get this done. Because I'm like, well, what do you expect? The guy's crazy. Of course he's gonna do this, and he gets fixated on certain things. And tonight it was a number of different things. The senior living thing really got. I mean, that was just out of nowhere. I didn't even realize that he rage quit. It took me a couple of beats to realize it. But and he's had a rough think about where we were just a little over a week ago. Everybody was showering him with love because Perry was attacked, and we got he got an outpouring of love. It just seems so far away from that now, and I don't know. And also my irritation is not just because I had a long day, which I did, but by the way, you guys, if you guys never checked out a T-ball game, you should check. It's the most. It's like watching the Puppy Bowl. It's ridiculous, but he's like, I'm learning as we go too, and it was fun. And then I actually came in to do the stream tired, but in a good mood. But what was I just gonna say? I forget my train of thought. Garrett said earlier that I did it to myself because I made the mistake of telling Perry about my day and, hey Perry, I need you to be cool tonight. So, and all I said to him was, hey, just don't turn off your computer, because it's just hard for me to handle that with handling everything else. And by the way, thank God I run things on my end of the on my side of things, because if he had to if it was run on his stream, we'd never get back online. The stream would be in 10 parts. So, so I said to him today, I played a little bit on the air because we recorded it, and maybe I'll make it the cold intro or something when I put it up on Patreon. But hey Perry, I had a long day. This is my third job of the day. Very little downtime. I was up late last night, and I got a busy week this week. And this is what I was gonna say when I lost my train of thought. I really busted my ass for him last week. Got him an attorney that he's working with. And that took hours out of my week because I had to talk to the person, link them up with Perry, and I'm not going to get into any details about that because I'm just not going to talk about that until the time comes where we could. But that took a lot of time out of my week. And then Perry's cousin Sam, you're going to have to forgive me. I'm a little mush-brained right now, and I'm going to not speak coherently. I'm going to try to get it out. But his cousin Mark came in to take care of a couple of things because, as I'm sure most of the diehards know. So Mark is Perry's accountant. He handles all of Perry's finances and all the things that come in through the stream and, our company. And I say our company. It's called Brennan Entertainment, kind of as a goof, but it's our company. And all that goes to Perry. And it's really, we're hardcore talking about where Perry could live because we want to get him out of this complex, and if we have enough capital to put down a down payment on something, and spoiler alert, we don't, but I'd like to eventually get there, and it's the whole weekend, not the whole week. That's an exaggeration, not the whole weekend, but a lot of the weekend was talking with Mark and Perry. Where we discussed stuff and Perry was very reasonable. He was very thankful and very appreciative of everything, and we were walking him through things. And it's just, I don't know where this guy tonight came from. And by the way, I know it's entertaining. I know most people probably love tonight. It was just, it's hard for me to see it. It's hard for me to see what you guys are seeing on your end. So, but he was like super responsible, even adult like. And, we were talking about real life things. We were talking about where he could go. And, we were really like crunching things. And plus there was there's like a real estate attorney that Mark knows. And we were talking about just, because I don't know anything about California real estate. I don't. And so we're talking about stuff like that. I'm not going to waste time going into everything, but it was a lot of time out of my week helping him out. Coming off a week where we didn't stream last Monday, boy, did I get shit from that. Like, just like people find a way to get in touch with you when they're upset. Like, you guys, I'm getting the impression that Tom's the lazy one, not Perry. I heard that one, which was great. It wasn't that anybody was lazy. It was just like last Monday, Perry was like speaking in tongues. He wasn't coherent. Like, do you see him towards the end tonight? He's like basically falling asleep and rubbing his eyes. 10 times worse than that. Like, he wasn't able to do a stream. Plus, Jim had really bad strep throat, and Jim works his ass off on Mondays. His ass off, like he worked tonight. And then Garrett, who also works his ass off behind the scenes, was not feeling great either. And anyway, it was just once in a while you got to take a personal day, right? So we took a personal day, and people don't like that, but that means that they like you. They don't want you to go away. So anyway, it was just, my frustration came from the fact that I sacrificed a lot of my time this past week helping Perry. Plus, we were going over the finances and stuff. And then by finances, I mean like all the stuff that comes in to like, his tip comments that basically goes to him. There's some stuff taken out for like taxes and like business expenses and things like that. But I'm on the level with his cousin and Perry. And I want Perry to build up enough capital to buy a house. That's all I want at this point. And, and then like, and this is nobody's business, and I shouldn't be complaining, but like, I'm driving around my mom's old car, just like Perry. My mom passed away back in late January, and I've been driving her car. And just on Friday, as I'm driving to T-ball practice, the muffler, the muffler just goes. It's just like making a loud noise. It's not driving right. And now I got to take it, take it to the mechanic. Like Perry, like unlike Perry, I don't have like a go-to mechanic. But I took it to a mechanic, and it's like, do I even bother fixing this thing or putting a new muffler in there? Because it's just not even worth, like, I don't even know how much the car is worth at some point. I'm not going to put, was it $2,000 for his tires, on a car like that? So I'm like, is it even worth it? And I sometimes, to be honest with you, I get a little frustrated. Like, I'm in this position over here, but Perry's in this position over here. How does that work? And I know it's Perry Caravello live, and he's the star, and this is all about getting Perry to a better place. But that does bother me. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Perry has a better car right now than I do. Although my mom's car was a 2004 Hyundai Sonata, and it's just it's on its last legs, but it's a good daily driver. Because I used to use my wife's car, but she's using it every day because she has a job that requires her to constantly use the car. So that's kind of that was taken. I don't have that access to that car. So now I have this. Anyway, blah blah blah. Car weeds. I was just like pissed off because the next day I'm going over like Perry's finances and stuff. And like, okay, well, this is how much you have right now to play with if we're looking into real estate, and this is good for this place but not good for this place, and then I'm like, mother effer. Like, I got to make a decision if I could spend $600 on a muffler plus all the expense I got to spend on this trip coming up, which I'll get to. But anyway, it's one of those things. So those are where my frustrations come from. Illegal dudes, because stealing's what we do. Yeah, that's the other thing I love too. Once in a blue moon, I'll get somebody to be like, "Oh, Tom, it's unfortunate that you're stealing Perry's money," and I always love that comment because number one, it's the most moronic thing ever. Because as I've said before, I have Perry for life. Even if we do stop doing PCL and the maniac like shuts everything down or whatever through whatever means he has, I still have this guy. I'm not. I may say that I'm going to walk away from him or change my phone number. I'm not going to do that. I've made almost a life debt to him. He owes me the debt, of course. But like when I offered to help him out years ago, it was not a thing for a month or a thing for a year or two. It was for life. So 10 years down the line, when there's no PCL, and by the way, I hope there is a PCL, but realistically, when there's no PCL and he's like in a serious decline or whatever, who's going to be paying his bills? Who's going to be paying his rent? Who's going to make sure he's taken care of? Who's going to make sure he has his bills paid, his phone bill paid, he has a car that's drivable, or maybe he can't drive at that point. Maybe he needs some other services. Who's going to pay for that? Well, it's not going to be his cousins. His cousins are considerably older, by the way. So there's that. And that they just don't have the resources. So that's what PCL is for. It's really a retirement fund for Perry. And by the way, if we ever get to a huge point where that's bankable and he's good for the rest of his life, because that's what needs to happen. Perry needs to be good for the rest of his life for me not to worry. Because right now we're not in that situation. PCL goes away, a month from now, a year from now, things are eventually going to dry up and I'm back to square one, helping this guy, pay his rent, make sure he's taken care of, and make sure he's not on the streets or whatever. Because I do love, despite how much he riles me up on a day like this, I do love the guy. So anyway, I always get a kick out of people that say, "Oh, you're stealing Perry's money." Like, well, that's kind of interesting because I'd be stealing from myself doing that if I was an idiot with money. And by the way, the business is in my name, but it's also the contract we have is also Perry. It's also his cousin is involved, and if I was a real nefarious person, I could probably be like Amy, drain it all and move away and change my number and run away from Perry. And what would happen? I'd still be stuck taking care of Perry because I can't run away from Perry at some point. So you're only stealing from yourself doing that. So again, 10, 15 years from now, I still got to make sure he's taken care of. And as it stands right now, PCL is not as successful as it would be. Tom, can I please get some funds for food? Yeah, I know. That's exactly what it is. So, anyway, I don't take it too serious. I'm already over it. Anything he said tonight, I'm already over. I'm not carrying it with me. In the moment, though, I just want him to sit down and finish his stream. That's all I want. And sometimes I'll say stuff to him just to facilitate that. Just to get him to do his job and finish it out for you guys, because I think it's bullshit for him to just quit and think he can get away with that and then not be cognizant of the fact that he accepted an offer to do this or accepted an offer to do that. And we know what we're in for, with Perry. We know he forgets and he rages about stuff. But that's it. This is the business we've chosen. So yeah. Perry's a huge liability. Yes, I agree with that, and I knew what I was getting into with Perry. That's why my credit is so shitty, because I'm slowly rebuilding it because, back when things went to shit with Perry, I was always, one thing my mother was very big on was having a great credit score. And she would have been so ashamed of me to know how bad my credit got. Because there was one, I remember 1 month, it was September, I forget what year it was, but my bill was due on my credit card. It was an Amex card. And I was the kind of guy, I always paid off my full balance every month, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't pay my full balance off, and I carried it over, paying interest. And once you do that, you're screwed, because that is the biggest thing that affects your credit score is not paying your balance on time. You can pay your minimum balance, but that's credit cards want you to do that, so you owe them interest. But so anyway, I got into trouble with that, and then another card, and then anyway, I was in collections at one point, which is mortifying. And one letter actually did go to my parents' house one time, and I was just so goddamn embarrassed. So I was I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to rebuild your credit. By the way, after 7 years, this stuff falls away. So you can rebuild. So that's what I've been trying to do, rebuild. And I finally was able to get my first credit card since all that stuff happened recently, and I was proud of myself. You know, like you're a 19-year-old getting your first credit card. You know, that's basically where I am. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to rebuild your credit, and now this is what I hate YouTube, because if you, God forbid, you search something on YouTube, you almost got to have a separate account just for search algorithms. And now everything in my algorithm now is how to hack your credit card, how to maximize your points, how to apply for this card. Here's the best cards of 2023. So anyway, that's kind of, but I'm kind of an expert now. I'm kind of an expert now with cards. And it's funny, since the last time I paid attention to credit cards, the game has completely changed. It's now all about like points and stuff. So I'm kind of, but I was able to get a regular card, and I was able to get a business card. So I was happy for that. And I basically said, hey, listen, I've had a good standing account. This is a tip I'll pass on. If anybody has bad credit, this is a tip I'll pass on. It worked for me. If where you have your bank also issues credit cards, then you can go to them and say, listen, I have my bank. I have a bank account in good standing. This is how much I have in the bank account. Can I please get a credit card? Or I'm going to take my money and go to some place that will give me a credit card. And that's basically what I did. And Chase gave me a card, so that was cool. But yeah, it's just been a stressful, ever since that attack. It's been a stressful time with Perry. Like, you know, another thing that came up was the worst possible time Perry's health insurance lapsed. Now, he gets health insurance through the state, but it's not through his disability anymore. I don't want to give away too much personal business for his, but anyway, people brought it up. But so he does have through the state, but he does have to pay a certain fee. It's not terrible. California is actually pretty good with that. I personally don't have health insurance, but he does. Anyway, it lapsed. It lapsed for a number of reasons. We switched things over, and it's just the worst frigging possible worst time to lapse. It lapsed, and you had to pay out of pocket for his Kaiser visit, whatever, and that was taken care of. But I'm the guy that has to facilitate all that. As far as that. Tom, what if I keep my money in investments, though? I don't like keeping money in the bank. No, that's fine. You should keep some money in the bank, but also investments. And also, are you investing with Chase? Are you investing with American Express? If you are, that helps your credit score. Here's another thing that helps your credit score, and I was able to do this. Not everybody has a way to do this. If you want to boost your credit score, and you're either trying to rebuild your credit, because I'm entering a point now where a lot of things are falling off, but also I don't have a lot of credit history because the past 7 years especially, I didn't have any real activity because of all the things that happened. But what you can do is you can add yourself as an authorized user on a family member. So let's say your parents, or you have a sibling, or even a friend that's trusting. They can add you to their credit card, whatever it is, an Amex card or Citibank. It doesn't matter with credit card. Make sure it's a good card, not one of these scam cards or secure cards. Just add yourself as an authorized user, and never use the account. But then their credit history now goes on your credit report, and also the length of how long they've had that card. I made the stupid mistake years ago of canceling my oldest credit card. That is the worst thing you could do, because your credit history is really based around the history of how long you've been in the credit game and how long you've had certain accounts. So sorry to get into the credit weeds, but it just came into play. But anyway, I was able to. My dad added me onto his Amex card as an authorized user. Now, what happens when somebody adds you as a user? The credit card goes to them, And I said, Dad, I'm never going to use that card. Just keep it somewhere. I'm never going to use it. I just want to be on there. So I get all the benefits of his good credit and the history of how long he's had that card. And it helps me rebuild my credit, which is what I'm trying to do. And you know, part of this is Perry needs to do the same thing for his credit, because his credit's abysmal, obviously. And if he's going to be buying a house, well, what is mortgage lenders? What do? They run a credit check. He's going to need his credit's going to need to be good, and my credit's going to need to be good because I'm going to be his co-signer most likely, and everybody in his family has horrible credit. Even his Mark's probably got okay credit because he's an accountant, but like Perry was denied for everything. If you like his bank is Chase, and I recommend him getting the Freedom Unlimited card. It's a very good entry level card. It gives you points or whatever. So eventually he's going to do the same thing that I did. It's basically walking the Chase, hopefully not asking them about things. I'm shocked he hasn't called me, by the way, because he was on the way to the bank. And just say, hey, you know, I've had my account. You know, his personal bank account is in pretty good standing, and he could probably get a basic card at that point. But you know, he's got to build up some kind of credit, because he's not going to get a mortgage on his own. There's just no way. So, does Perry have Medi-Cal? Yes, that's the insurance he has. It's a different tier of Medi-Cal, because when he had the disability, it came with this blanket coverage, which wasn't great, but he didn't really have to pay anything for it, except maybe some co-pays here and there. And then when he lost that, he just got a different version of it, and it lapsed because he, you know, something came in his mail. He had to do something. It's a long story to get into, but it lapsed. So he's been without it for the past month, and it hasn't been a big deal. And we were waiting, you know, to do this. But again, why does it all fall on me? Why can't he do that? Do you have to pay a monthly fee for Chase? I use Credit Union right now, but I'm moving to Vegas soon. It depends on the card you get. The Freedom cards, they have a Freedom Unlimited and they have a Freedom Flex cards. Both are no fee. Once you get the cards that have perks, like travel perks, like there's Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve, there is a fee for those. But it's like it's $95. So and with the credits you get from the card, it makes the fee nominal. Now you get other cards like the Amex Platinum has a ridiculous, like, I think it's like 600 something a year, maybe more. It might be close to 700. That's a lot, and you have to figure out if the perks are worth the premium of the card. But go for the Chase Unlimited. Chase Unlimited is just a good all-arounder, because, and again, I'm now an expert on it. Because you get you get money back on like dining out or whatever, and there used to be this misnomer about credit, and I've heard it from certain people throughout the years, that the more credit cards you have, the worse it is for your credit. That's not true. The more credit you have, the better it is for your credit, as long as they're all in good standing and you pay your shit off at the end of the month, which is not easy for people to do. And, you know, for a long time, I was paying everything off a debit card. And that's awful because you're not protected on that. You know, at least with these credit cards, you're protected. So I wanted to skip ahead and talk about Pottstown. Obviously, Pottstown is happening. Perry's going. And, you know, I've held up on making commitment to what we're doing after Pottstown. You know, meaning like Sunday and possibly Monday. And the idea was, we're going to come to New York. And I was talking to Garrett about this, and Jim as well. And I mentioned that we were offered to go on the Anthony Cumia show, which is on Compound Media, a paywall service. And then also he was offered to go on Chrissy Marr's Wet Spot, which is on Compound Media, on Monday in person. Now, since that offer was made, I just wanted to confirm it with Anthony Cumia's producer, which I did. I said, hey, you know, we're extending our trip a little bit, you know, because that's going to be 2 nights for us in New York, and that's not covered by anything. You know, the Shuli Network, you know, running the Uncle Rico live show, you know, with Perry in person, they're covering Perry and Garrett's flights and also hotels, although that might translate to an Airbnb or something. But that doesn't cover anything. That doesn't cover my end. I still got to, get myself there. Jim has to get stuff there. We pay out of pocket for that. And then we're going to be in New York for 2 nights in May. And it's expensive, as you may or may not know. So is it worth the cost? And Eric's the guy I talked to. So we immediately, I get a message back that I was kind of dreading. And it was like, Anthony would love for Perry to come on Wednesdays when his co-host is back. That was the extent of the message. Now, first of all, I'm not extending Perry and me and everybody else in New York City until Wednesday. That's ridiculous. That would I don't have the money for that. And I know who his co-host is on Wednesdays, and it's Gavin McGinnis, who we've talked about, because Gavin, and I know Gavin very well, or I used to know him very well, and he's got a long history with Perry, but I don't want Perry with Gavin. Sorry. And I don't want, throwing Perry to the wolves with Gavin and Anthony. And then Eric was like, we could do it on Skype. Well, that kind of takes the whole thing away from it, isn't it? Because Perry's never in New York. Who knows if he'll ever be in New York again? Here he is in New York, and we're putting, we're giving you, you're going to spend time with Perry in Pottstown at this live show. Kumi's going to want to talk to Perry. But, I don't see why that's a big thing. I thought that would be a cool thing. So, I mean, we're getting enough shit for having Perry on Kumia to begin with because of all his issues. But I'm not doing, that was my line. I'm not doing Gavin. I'm sorry. And I'm not getting political about this at all. I just, that's my line. I'm not throwing that in there. So, and then I was just like, hey, and I wrote back, I said, listen, we really have to firm up our travel plans, and I'm more than willing to do that for New York for Perry to go on Monday in person. And he hasn't written me back yet, and I told him, listen, I got to make these plans. So I don't know. We might do New York anyway and just still go on Chrissy. I know somebody else mentioned Legion of Skanks. I don't know when Legion of Skanks records, because it would have to be on that Monday. I would love to get Perry on Jim and Sam or something like that, but I'm not doing. I'm not doing Gavin. That those days are over, and I think Gavin's very talented. I've talked about him before. I just think he went off the deep end with certain things, and there's just a stigma that he doesn't seem to care about getting rid of, and I'm not throwing Perry into that. And I know Gavin would, even if he did that, they wouldn't do political stuff with him. I know that, but also every time Perry comes up between Gavin and Kumia, at least that I've heard, that people send me, Gavin's knowledge of Perry is so outdated. It's like from over a decade ago. He doesn't get it. I don't think he watched. I think his producer watches, but I don't think he really watches PCL. And I just, I'm not spending all that expense on travel stuff for that. So anyway, so that's where I draw the line. And I think as the booker, on his end, that should be considered, because Perry's not just some schmuck that's begging to be on some show. Perry's got a very successful stream. Perry is going to be in Pottstown. And by the way, Perry's name is bigger on the poster than Kumia's. Not saying that, but I think Perry's a bigger draw, to be honest with you. I think Perry is selling more tickets than Kumia at this point. And I'm not knocking Kumia. I think Kumia's very talented, but I'm not coming from the point of representing somebody and being like, hey, my no-name YouTuber demands to be on the show, and these are our terms and conditions. No, all I'm saying is I don't want to throw him to the wolves with Gavin. And I didn't like the way they tried to phrase it, where it was like, oh, Anthony would like to do it on Wednesday when his co-host returns. Like, no. I know who his co-host is. I'm not, I might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. So yeah, I don't know, and I know it sucks. I just I don't think. And by the way, Gavin comes from this point of view that like he hates Perry, like and that's another one of his outdated things. Like everybody who works with Scary Perry hates him, and they all just want to torture him and do that. And then in Windy City Heat, he was an asshole, and they've been paying him back ever since. It's like everything he says is just wrong and outdated, and it's like, no, Gavin, it's not like that. At least not like that for me. Please don't speak for me. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's where we are, and I'm not doing it. I'm just if that's the only alternative, my answer is no. So is Perry selling tickets more than everyone combined? I don't know. There's no way to tell that because they don't. That's not set up. But anyway, so that's where we stand. I'd love to get Perry on Legion of Skanks, something like that. I don't, but they have to record like that. It would have to be like that Sunday or Monday. Those are our 2 days in New York, Sunday and Monday. So I don't know. I don't know where we stand on that. So I'll put feelers out to that. I'm inclined to maybe do New York anyway and just get some content out of it. I actually have a very, well, we'll see, knock on friggin' wood here, but I think I have a very decent laptop that I won't let liquids anywhere near that can run the stream natively. And I'm going to invest in a hotspot, like just a portable hotspot, so I don't have to worry about wherever we are if the internet's not great. I'll just have our own internet. We can do a couple of streams on the road, and do that. And maybe that'll make the New York trip worth it. But I really got to figure that out in the next couple of days. Please record us some stuff for Patreon. Is it possible to get a remote taser shade Patreon? I don't know what you mean by that. But record stuff for Patreon. Oh, you mean record on the trip? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Do I think Gavin might gate crash the Perry interview anyway? I hope not. I don't think so, because I think he only goes there on Wednesday when he gets paid, and Gavin doesn't do anything for free, so I don't think so. But who knows? If he did, it would get a little awkward because I'd pull Perry. Would Tony Hawk and the crew be on Kumia's show too? I don't know. I mean, because here's the deal. Kumia has no idea who Perry is, or had no idea who Perry is. Perry, he knew about Windy City Heat, doesn't really care about it. And then when he was seeing clips of like PCL, when Shuli was on Kumia about a month ago, Kumia got into it. And then he's even retweeted Perry a couple of times, or like retweeted clips of Perry, and I think he's mentioned Perry on his show a couple of times. Like, he's just like, oh my God, Pottstown's going to be really crazy with that crazy guy, meaning Perry. So he knows about him, but he doesn't know enough about the lore. I think he's only seen the clips that have been played for him or whatever comes across, his eyes on Twitter, which who knows what that is. So no, I don't think Tony Hawk and crew. It would really just be Perry. But if Christy's there on that Monday, because she does the show following him, then that would be good. That would be a good buffer. I would like Chrissy, Anthony, and Perry. I think that would be ideal. Did I see Rogan talking about Perry? You mean with the Cartnarks clip from a month ago with Tony Hinchcliffe? Yes, if there was a new one tonight, if you're talking about that, that was on the stream. Other than that, I don't know what you're talking about. He's probably getting all his info about Perry through Gavin, and that's no good. Yeah, I agree with that. Although I think Shuli did do a really thorough job when he was on there. When are we going to have another TomB week? I don't know. I'd like to do it sometime this year. I really want to do something for Perry's 60th birthday in November. I don't know what that will translate into, whether it's like, a gathering that we could all do or whatever. But I would like to do something for his 60th and celebrate it in a really big way. I don't know if that translates to a TomB week or whatever, but yeah. Well, I mean, this Pottstown thing is kind of be like an everybody week, Like, it's going to be weird because I'm going to try to do streams. Like, we'll try to do a live stream from wherever we are on the Friday before the Pottstown show, and everybody's going to be there, like, on the stream. Like, it'll be me, Perry, Garrett, Tony, and Jim, and we've never been in the same room, so that'll be interesting. Would be nice to get content of Perry in New York for the first time. Yeah, I agree. Like Perry walking around and getting some pizza or whatever. There's definitely things that we could do. Yeah. Somebody says, I miss the old Anthony from O&A. New political Anthony isn't the same. Still funny and all. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I was never an O&A guy, but I get the appeal of O&A. And I just don't like political anybody. Like, I'm not in, like, I hear politics, I tune out. I don't care, right, left, or indifferent. And I don't care. But I like listening to him talk about, like, watching Mannix or old TV shows or, like, he's got really good takes on a lot of things, and I think he's really talented and extremely funny. But he shifts, depending on he'll have guests on where he doesn't talk about I heard him interviewing Jackie the Joke Man, and that was just all fun, like cool stuff, and talking about comedy and old Stern and stuff like that, and that was really great. So yeah, he can turn it off when he wants to. Snowboarding trip. No, I'm not into snowboarding. I'm not into the snow, period. I don't like snowboarding. I don't like skiing. I don't like the cold. I don't like doing anything in the snow. I hate the snow. So no. But I would go just to see how terrible Perry is in person. Maybe. Tom, you may need a Xanax to keep up this stream. You may be right. I've never tried a Xanax a day in my life. But I don't know. I was a little fried today. And obviously I'm in, it's funny, I started the stream, I was like, there is no effing way I'm hanging around after. But I wanted to hang out after because he was so crazy, and I wanted to tell everybody, don't take anything too seriously, and don't take anything I say too seriously when I'm talking directly to Perry and maybe losing my cool. I definitely lost my cool a couple of times tonight, but everything's okay. Everything's fine. I've been a little fried lately for other reasons, not necessarily just because of Perry. It's been a rough few months, to say the least. But yeah, that's where we stand with the live trip. We're definitely doing Pottstown, but I got to lock that in this week. It's really coming up, and I'm locking in a lot of things. I want to get like a hotspot. I want to get certain equipment. It's going to be an expense. I got to rent a car. And that's my expense. To cover for everybody. Because there's like 5 of us. I'm sorry, my mom's 2004 Hyundai Sonata is not going to cut it, especially now that it needs a new muffler. I don't know. What do you guys do? Do you replace a muffler on a 2004 car, or do you just eat it? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to handle that. And I'm not in a position to get a new car right now. But I know you can get like some, whatever for like maybe $2,000 or something like that. Hacksaw Operator, is that how you say your name? Hi, TomB. I'm new around here, but love what you do. Thank you. Enjoy it. You have a home here. How many times will Perry hit Tom on the trip back east? How many times will Perry hit other people on the trip back east? You know, because I'm worried now about people like blowing smoke. I don't know how many people are actual smokers. Like, I've never been a smoker, but like people like smoking and blowing smoke in his face. Like, I could see Perry hauling off on somebody. My mechanic replaced and welded the section that was rusted. Oh, that's a cool little hack. Maybe. My dad is a very trustworthy mechanic. I think I'm going to take it to him and see what he says. Danko says, we all appreciate what you do. Thank you, Tom. Well, I appreciate what you do, Danko. Danko is a great mod and a great community ambassador for PCL. He's the best. So I don't know. I don't want I don't want people haul. You know, we're gonna have to really keep a close eye on Perry as far as like his things. Oh, Danko says, I just smoked weed, but that smoking bit was killing me tonight. Yeah, I get it. It's funny. You know, like I saw the thing on Twitter. Like somebody did a pretty good computer graph of him as the Marlboro Man. He actually called me about it. It's very quick. I'll play it here. I put this on. There was a couple of voicemails that he left me on Patreon, but he played one. It was one where he was mad about the cleaning out a shop vac with peanut butter. I'll play the one he left me about the smoking. Amy says, I wasn't a smoker until Perry talked it up so much. Yeah, he has that influence. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm so disorganized in my Perry stuff. I used to be so... Oh, actually, I take it back. I am organized. This is very quick. This is a quick hit.
Tom, the shit that I'm seeing online of these people that are trying to get me to want to become a fucking smoker, dude, I will never smoke cigarettes, pot. I won't do drugs again. Why in the fuck are people trying to get me to smoke? I'm trying to get Bob Levy and his wife to stop smoking. And who the fuck are these jagoffs that are trying to get me to smoke? If that's you fuckers are going to try to do to me when I show up in Pottstown, then there's not going to be a fucking show in Pottstown. You'll see me hold my shirt up to my fucking face so I can breathe without, a regular face mask. And maybe I'll say my name a couple of times. That's it. You guys can go fuck yourselves. I am not going to be a smoker ever. If I see anybody trying to make me become a smoker, I'll fucking break their goddamn cigarettes and their fucking pipes or whatever the fuck. And that's it. If there's anybody that wants to smoke near me, I'm done. Show's over. I leave. Then I go to my Twitter page and I see a computer graphing of me as the Marlboro Man. Look, I've seen some really fucked up computer graphs of me, but now they want me to be the Marlboro Man? I am not a cigarette smoker, will never be a cigarette smoker, so whoever wants to get their asses sued to the fucking hilt, better remove that stupid Marlboro Man cigarette smoking computer graph, or I'm going to sue the shit out of you. God damn. And all you want to do is sue people. Sue. That's all you know how to do is think of suing people. Well, you know what? I'm fucking fed up. I'm done. All right? You want to get me out of show business? Yeah. All right, then I'm fucking done. I'm tired of all these fucking liars trying to turn me into something that's going to die like a fucking smoker. Die. Go fuck yourselves and die. God damn you. If you're going to try to force me to fucking smoke when I arrive in Pottstown, there's not going to be a Pottstown show. Got it? Over and out.
Good day. So it's a really, between that and the senior living thing, it's like a crazy trigger right now for him. Yeah, that was Kenny. That, by the way, yeah. Shout out to KCL that sent that or posted that. That's because that's what he saw. And But yeah, he's so worked up over it, like smoke. That's why, if you are, so I don't know, I can't gauge like if people out there that are coming to Pottstown are actual smokers, because I just feel in general, and maybe it's just my life and the people that I know, it just seems like smoking's kind of like a non-issue. Like I very rarely come across it in, like, I don't know anybody who smokes, like, in that I interact with. But obviously it exists, and so obviously Bob Levy notwithstanding, if somebody's at Pottstown, and they're just like offering Perry a cigarette or like blowing smoke in his general direction, I could just see him going apoplectic and charging. So we got to be like, like get him to like grab onto him. And I've been in a position where I've had to grab onto him when he's gone after somebody, and he's got like R word strength, like to the hilt, like just like he's like a runaway train. But between me, Garrett, Jim, and everybody else there, it should be fine. But listen, you poke the bear, be prepared for whatever happens. So I'm just saying, if you are planning to blow smoke in Perry's face, be prepared. Jim says his dad died of COPD because he smoked for 55 years. Never liked Sig, so I'm with Perry on that one. That's from Jim. Yeah, that sucks, Jim. I'm sorry about that. That's the other thing too. I think I've mentioned this, and I have a very good friend that just had a really hard time quitting cigarette. I think he finally did, but I know it's like a very addictive thing, and here's the thing: if you can quit somehow before you're 40, your body can correct the damage of smoking. For the most part, there's obviously it's never perfect. I mean, on average, but if you go past the age of 40, male or female, and you're smoking regularly, I don't mean like you smoke every now and again, or like you're whatever they call social smokers, or maybe you smoke with a drink every now and again. There's people that can do that. I'm talking like your everyday smokers, heavy smokers. You go past 40, you're really playing Russian roulette. And if you go to 50, forget about like it's really bad. Yeah, and by the way, there's always cases like, oh, my grandmother smoked until she was 90 and no problem. Yes, there's always anomalies like that. But it would benefit you greatly if you can give it up by 40. So I hear. Yeah. My mom smoked for a long time, and I think that's probably what always turned me off to it. It's like we'd be in the car, and she'd be smoking. It's what you did. It probably sounds weird now, but like, as a child of the 80s, like it would just like, it seemed like everybody's mom smoked, or like, and then eventually they quit, but it always turned me off to it. I just hated the smell. It just thought it was weird. I mean, I'm old enough to have flown on planes when they were smoking sections in planes, which is ridiculous. I don't remember what year that stopped, but can you imagine like that was a thing? But I don't know if that was part of like my mom's cause of death, but could be associated. My mom's been Filthy Finger says my mom's been a 2-pack a day smoker since she was a teenager. Now she's in her 60s, and I'm always waiting to get the call. Well, I hope you never get that call. I mean, that's real dedication there to smoke. That's rough. Grimace's mom smokes in her 70s. Been trying to get her to quit for years. I mean, if you're in the 70s, boy, that's real. Yeah, because sometimes you see old. I do see that on occasion. I'll see like an older person smoking. Like, wow, that's someone that's just like really dug into it. But yeah, I'm just never got into it. Whenever I went to a concert, because that was the thing too. When I went to a concert or a club or wherever the hell you were, even a bar, when that was the thing. You know, when I came of age to like do those things, New York had cut that off pretty quick, but there was still a thing like you go to New Jersey, which, you know, like my friends and I would go to a place in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is very close to New York City, Maxwell's, if anybody knows it, to see like live shows or whatever. And like their laws were different. Like they, like you still could smoke in restaurants and bars there, even long after New York canceled. And it was like traveling back in time. It was like, oh my God, like people are smoking here. Testicle Tiger says my mom was a 3-pack a day smoker, died of lung cancer at 65. That's awful. And there's, what is there, 20 in a pack? So that's 60 a day. How do you smoke 60 a day? Like that means like you're just basically inhaling more smoke than oxygen. I'm in casinos a lot for my job. I saw an old lady slide her oxygen mask onto the side so she could light a cigarette at a slot machine. Yeah, I've seen that too. And that's just, what do you say to that? You know, it's just the way it is. You could still smoke in some bars in Pittsburgh. Okay. Yeah, that's like, there's a thing, I forget. Oh, I think it was in Wisconsin, like not that long ago, like within the past 10 years, maybe a little longer than that. I went to see a friend and we went to a concert there and people were smoking in the venue and it was crazy. And this is like 2012 maybe. And it was still, I don't know if it's still a thing there. It has to be. You'd have to figure it's almost all gone. But, you know. God. Jim says his friend's aunt just incinerated herself by smoking while on oxygen. Pretty rough. That sounds horrific. Jesus Christ. Wow. And you know, I actually enjoy like the vintage smoking, like those Flintstone ads that play. Like I've seen those before, of course. They're very, it's like of its time. Like when you're watching like an old movie in black and white, like you're kind of oblivious to people smoking because it's just what people did. And there's like, I could see the attractiveness of it, especially like, you know, there's that pinup culture of like, I don't know, like Betty Page or somebody like that, and it like makes you look like more of a I don't know, sexy starlet or something, for lack of a better word. And I get that appeal, but you know, nowadays it's just, it seems very strange. It's weird to see smoking in movies now. And I'll tell you what's also weird is when there's a period movie or a period TV show where there's no smoking because they don't want to promote it. But I'm like, hey, if you're doing a show that's set in like, you know, anywhere in like the 50s or mid 60s, it's weird. Garrett says he smoked a lot overseas. You could get a decent amount. Cartons for $6. Cartons, yeah, I get. But yeah, you're a military guy. I guess I could see that. But you don't do it now, do you? Yeah, most doctors recommend Lucky Strike cigarette to end your day. Yeah, it's always like, I always like seeing that. Even like sometimes you see that in comedies where like the doctor will be smoking while like, you know, looking at a kid, like looking at a kid's knee or something. What about vaping? I think vaping, as you know, is better than smoking, but it's still bad. I don't know. I've never vaped. I don't know. I've said this before. I don't even smoke weed because I just can't. I've tried it in the past, not anytime recently. I can't work my way around the concept of willfully inhaling smoke into one's body. It is so crazy to me. Like it's as crazy as drinking a glass of gasoline. That's how crazy. Like I'm kind of with Perry on it, so I'm not a lunatic about it. And by the way, like I've had friends who have smoked. I've even had like girlfriends that smoked, not constantly, but every now and again. It never really bothered me. You know, you do you. I could deal with it. It's just when like a mass amount of people are congregated in one place and it's all like that. Like, you know, when you go out to a place. Yeah, I do use edibles once in a while to chill. Always to go to sleep, never just to like enjoy. See, I think alcohol is a big part of smoking and culture. Yeah, absolutely, because people associate it with that. And I understand that. I've never, I was a pretty big drinker. I still do a lot of social drinking, and don't, I just don't drink. Sorry, don't get the appeal of like smoking, but I've never been. And I think if you grow up with a parent who is a smoker, I think maybe you're turned off to it at a young age, and then you don't become that. But you know, whatever. I do. I mean, it's almost like you can't resist it. I almost feel like all of us, like Garrett and Jim and Tony, when we're in Pottstown, like we should all smoke in the car. Like it would look ridiculous because I've never really. Have I smoked? I must have tried it. I have tried it. Like when I was much younger, just to see what all the fuss was about, and I remember hating it. But we should all just like smoke in the car and have Perry in the back seat middle, and see what happens. Puff cigars, don't inhale. Yeah, I don't know. I I almost find cigars are kind of like very intimidating for me. When I was a kid, we were not allowed soda, so I never drank it. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I was definitely allowed soda. If I have an addiction, it's to Coke, not cocaine, Coca Cola, like regular Coke. Although I've kind of broken it now because Coke Zero sugar is so close to regular Coke that it makes no sense to drink regular Coke if that's an option. Yeah, that's right. You don't have to smoke. You can just hold cigarettes when you see him. Yeah, I guess so. How much are cigarettes these days? I guess it depends on the state you're in, but aren't they like like close to $15 a pack or something like that? So it's an expensive habit. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how many. Like nobody commenting right now seems to be like an actual smoker, unless I'm wrong. Maybe once in a while. And I know some people do it to like get rid of stress or whatever. And once in a while, I think about that because I've had a lot of stress lately in the past few months, and I'm like, man, if I was a smoker, would all this stress just magically go away? Is that what it does? You just go outside and you smoke. And do most people that do you smoke indoors? Okay, so a couple people are smokers. Do you smoke indoors, or you exclusively go outside to smoke? Because I feel like that's an old school thing. Like if you smoke in your home, like you're really committed to it. But if you go outside to smoke, you kind of know that it's like that's what you have to do. $9 for pack of cigarettes in Ohio, 11 in California. That's a lot. Okay. $9 in Ohio for the cigarettes my wife smokes. Okay, so your wife smokes, but you don't. How does that work? I only smoke when I drink or on Christmas and New Year's, which isn't too often. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's a big deal. I really don't. Testicle Tiger smokes indoors. That's hardcore. But I live in my mom's smoker's house. Okay, so I guess it's already broken in. I make my wife go outside. Okay, yeah, but that's fine, right? And as long, like I said, I have dated smokers in the past, but they're not like a full pack a day. Like maybe like two a day I could live with. More than that, and at this point, I probably wouldn't put up with that. But I think everybody who smokes knows that you're going to give it up eventually, right? Like it's not something that you're going to pull that trigger and be like, hey, I'm going to be one of those 70-year-olds in the casino, smoking or whatever. So I don't know. How'd we get into the smoking weeds, by the way? 5 to 10 bucks where you're at. Wow. Okay, you must be. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't allow anybody to smoke in my house either. Just go outside. And I have a small house. It would definitely fill up the house. What would I do if Teddy was 15 and I found his smokes? I'd be really bummed out. I'd be really bummed out. Honestly, he doesn't seem to have. I keep saying that I think future generations are going to be over it, but I guess not. I feel like young people aren't as into it anymore, and I could be off on that because maybe I'm not around them and I don't see it. But like, look, teenagers are always attracted, and I speak as somebody who was attracted to this stuff. You're always attracted to the stuff that you're told you can't do, or is a societal taboo or whatever. So you're gonna want to try it, whether it's drinking underage or whatever. I would hope not. I would hope not. Yeah, I'd let Uncle Perry have a few words with him. Um, yeah. Oh, Testicle says my mom was a smoker and she cried when she found out I started. Like, yeah, I guess I could see that from uh, a parent figure. If you're like a hardcore smoker, then your kid gets sucked into the same thing that you can't give up. Did Teddy enjoy the Mario movie? Oh my God, did he ever? Yes, we went to see it that opening weekend. And I'll tell you, it was really one of those special moments where, I've been going through a lot of stuff. And, for the 90 minutes that movie went on, he was so, like, he was just like jumping out of his seat, like loved every frame of it, like every little thing in there he just was delighted with. And that's what the movie's made for, is like, kids his age. And it was fun. I enjoyed it too, for what it was. It was done very well. But yeah, he was over the moon for it. Hasn't stopped talking about it since. Goes up to perfect strangers and here, like when we did our baseball game today, we played against another team. And if you're not familiar with T-ball, they don't keep score. Everybody gets on base. You get on base, and you hit the T-ball, and everybody gets on base. Everybody clears the base. Everybody goes home, and everybody in the lineup gets to hit. And then the last guy is called the home run hitter, and you announce that to the other team. Home run hitter. The home run hitter means that this kid is going to clear the bases no matter what he hits. As long as the ball's in play, it's a home run, and everybody clears the bases. And every time he got to a base, I could hear him, because I was, by home plate, I was like putting the balls on the tee, and he was like, "Did you see the Mario movie?" Oh my! And he just he's so consumed with it even now, like 2 weeks after the fact, or almost 3 weeks. So he wants to see it again. I'll take him to see it again. It was great. It was great. It was one of his. It was his, not his first movie theater experience, but it was great. What if I had a segment where Teddy and Perry review the same movie at the same time? I try to separate Teddy a little bit from Perry. Although I call Teddy Perry all the time, and I got to catch myself, and vice versa. Like when he gets like whiny sometimes, I'll be like, Perry, can you please? Teddy, can you please? I'll have to catch myself. But yeah, so he goes around to complete strangers to talk about like his favorite scenes from the movie. Did you see the Mario movie? And the other thing was, I told him I'm a big proponent of if a movie, most movies you go to see in the theater, stay for the credits. I always enjoy staying for the credits. I just kind of detox from the movie and stay for the credits. So we stayed for the credits, and there's a bonus scene. I'm going to spoil it now. Mute your volume if you don't want to be spoiled by the Super Mario movies. But there's a scene with Yoshi at the end where like Yoshi's in a little egg, and it's just like a little teaser. And he went out of his mind because Yoshi is his favorite thing. Yoshi's his favorite character, and I got him a Yoshi doll when he was like 2 years old, and he the whole thing. So and he goes up to other people who haven't seen the movie. He's like, "Oh, and you need to stay for the whole movie because Yoshi comes in it. You know, he wants people to have that experience, so it's great. How was Mario's voice in the movie? You know what? It was fine. I now understand having seen the movie. I know there was kind of an outcry when the movie was announced like a year ago, and like Charles Martinet, who does the Mario voice in the games, wasn't the voice, but the game. This is a different Mario. You had to flesh the character out a little bit, and I think Charles Martinet is great for like the "It's a me, Mario," or like "Here we go," and all those little things that are in the games. Because the thing about Nintendo characters is they don't really talk full dialogue. Link. I don't think Link's ever said a word. I think he grunts at best, and it's all like still subtitled. And Mario never talks, even when you play the Mario games. He always reacts to other people talking, and that's even like still subtitled. So, they had to make a movie where there's a narrative and at least a character. So they had to make him like the movie version of Mario. So I get why they didn't go with the. Plus it's stereotypical Italian stuff. Like, you can't have Mario going, Mamma Mia every 2 seconds. You had to flesh him out. So it really worked. And they did use Charles Martinet. Charles Martinet was Mario's dad. And then they did have certain key sound effects, Mario sound effects worked in. It worked very well. And Charlie Day, somebody else is saying Charlie Day as Luigi worked. Charlie Day was great as Luigi. And everybody was good, Jack Black. I'm not a big fan, like, as a voiceover guy myself, I hate celebrity stunt casting in animated movies. But everybody was great. I thought everybody was great. And it was a very solid, the movie doesn't have much of a plot, to be honest. And it's quick. You could tell they wanted to make this movie 90 minutes on the dot, so they can get the maximum amount of show times in theaters. And that's the point of kids' movies. That's why kids' movies do well, is because you can play them, 6 times a day. Whereas, a movie like Avatar or whatever like that, you're lucky to get, 4 screenings a day because it's so long. So, it's for what it is. It's filled with Nintendo stuff. If you grew up with Nintendo, it's got like, oh, look, there's this, there's that. And it was fine, for what it was. There's no character depth. There's no great plot going on. There's no lessons that you come away from it. It's just a fun movie. And if you're at all familiar with the characters or playing the games, it's fun. They told the line very carefully. They could have very easily made the Princess Peach character like the domineering hero and make kind of, Mario kind of like a, like a beta, subservient, like she's the best and does everything and rescues everybody. But they actually told the line really well, and she was a great character, and it was good. I'm looking forward to whatever comes next. But yeah, it was good. What bottles of liquor do I like? I'm not a big liquor guy, but I do like really high-end tequila and high-end vodka. Tequila I'll drink straight. Vodka I will not drink straight, but I like it mixed with certain things if I don't have to taste the actual vodka. I heard there's a Mario Kart segment. Yeah, there's a great Mario Kart segment, and if you play Mario Kart, it's great. It's great. It's fun. It's I don't recommend an adult going to it necessarily. Wait till it comes home and rent it on iTunes or something, or wait till it comes to whatever streaming platform. But if you've got kids, whatever. I walk that back. Go see it. If you just want to zone out for 90 minutes and if you've ever played a Mario game and you've enjoyed it, go see it. It's fine. It's fine. It's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable. And Teddy lost his mind for it. It made his year. He was so excited about it, building up to it. Like he was just like going out of his mind when we were sitting there waiting for the movie to start, because there's always trailers. That's the other thing. You go to a movie, you got to sit through 20 minutes of trailers. And he was like, "Is it Mario yet?" He's like, "Yeah." Other people were laughing at him, because he was, He was so thing. Tom, I work for a big liquor distributor company. I want to bring a big bottle of the Pottstown. What do I like? That's a great question. You don't have to do that, but there's this tequila I like, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was given to me as a gift a few years ago, and I've since gotten it one other time when I was kind of hosting a get together, as Perry would say. And I can't think of the name of it. It had a clear bottle with a blue label on it, I think. I'm trying to picture it in my head. It was quite expensive, though. It was... let me see if I can find it online. I can't... Yeah, I'll get back to you on it. It was a very high-end tequila. I'm not talking like crazy money, but it was a couple hundred for the bottle. And it was one of those things, like a special occasion that you take a little, like a little glass, a splash of tequila with some salt on the rim, and have that. When we first moved into the house we're in now, we had a drink of it. We need Teddy film reviews. Well, if he was up, I'd get him on here and he'd review it. He would love to do that. He would love to review the Mario movie. I liked Excalibur and Flash Gordon when I was a small fellow. Can I be honest with you? I've never seen either one, which is crazy because I grew up at the top point. Milagro is a great tequila. No, it's not Milagro. I grew up at the time where those movies came out, but I never saw Flash Gordon. I'd like to at some point. I never saw it. 1800? No, not 1800. Not 1800. I really would... I don't even have the bottle. Do I have the bottle? I'd almost go into the other room in my liquor cabinet and see if I still have the bottle, but I'm pretty sure I finished it and then I haven't replaced it. It was a clear bottle. Yeah. Let me see. I'm on now I'm curious. I don't think it was Milagro Light. It was like, it was in the category of a Milagro Select. Actually, it was right. It's in that neighborhood, but I can't. El Presidente, no. I'm not gonna waste too much time on this because I don't want to get caught in the tequila weeds. Yeah, shit, I don't see it. I'm just looking at like a Google image of like Don Ramon. Never heard of that. That looks good. Oh, it's right. I could see the bottle in my head, but it's not translating to my search algorithm. But yeah, I see that 1800 bottle a lot, but it's not. It's not that. Ooh, this looks familiar. No, that's not it. I don't know. It was about $300, so it's not something I would actually buy on a regular at all. It was one of those things that it was a gift to me. Corazon, I don't think that's it either. It was a gift to me, and I normally don't like something like when somebody gifts you something and it's not something you normally do, and then you experience it, and then I can never like oh my god, like this is amazing. And then I think I made a margarita with it, which is kind of like sacrilege for that. Clase Azul, I have tried that, Bobby. That's very good. That's very good. Yeah. So out of all the alcohols, no, not Cazador. That doesn't sound familiar. It's more. It would be more about the label. Yeah. God damn it. I'm gonna go in the other room and see if I have it, because now it's driving me crazy. And if I come back empty-handed, we're just gonna move on from it. But talks amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I didn't find it. But I did find one that's kind of like a step below. That's not terrible. No, it's not terrible at all. It's far from it. And this is Casa Dragones Tequila Blanco. And I think this one goes for about maybe $100. There's still a splash in here. I think that one, I kind of got this one as like a like a budget version of the one that I really like. I'm let's see. I'm gonna look at this up. Yeah, this bottle you can get this bottle that I have here for, I'm looking online for like $75. So definitely not cheap shit. But yeah, and I think the same company has a higher end version, which I've tried. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to think of it. But anyway, that's what it was. Stream starts at 1 a.m. in England. Fell asleep at 4 a.m. Yeah, by the way, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about the hour late start. I have to do that for now until June because of these game schedules. There's a couple of Mondays where we don't have games, but you know, just to be consistent, I think it would be weird to go like, oh, this week it's 8 p.m. Sorry, I should talk in Pacific terms. Oh, this week is 5 p.m. and this week is 4 p.m. So I'm just going to make it a blanket 5 p.m. Like today, it was cutting it close. Like the game ended at, what time did we get out of there? It was like 7:40. So I had 20 minutes to get home and start the stream. So there was no, yeah, there was no time for like anything else. I didn't eat, but yeah, what else is new? Yeah, somebody else says Casa Dragonis is very good. You can get it at Costco. In fact, that's exactly, I think, where I got this bottle back in the day. Somebody says we need everything on Laserdisc. I used to have Laserdisc. I had a great Laserdisc collection. I still have at my parents' house. I still have a crate of Laserdiscs. I'm actually in a Laserdisc like discussion group on Facebook. Every now and then, I don't use Facebook too much except for like groups, like you know, like Mets or PCL. And even though I don't check them as often as I used to, but there's a Laserdisc group, and all the people in the group that I gotta give credit to people that are into these hobbies. Like they go out of their way to rig up their Laserdisc to watch on like, you know, modern TVs. And you know, I think that's nuts. Like, why would you watch Laserdisc in 2023 when you can watch things in perfect 4K, you know, HDR, Dolby Vision? Like, why would you do that? But people love it. People love the nostalgia of it, the kitschiness of it. You know, Laserdisc used to hold like an hour aside, and you have to like get up in the middle of the movie and flip the disc to watch the rest of it. And God forbid the movie was like longer than that, then you'd be flipping it all the time. So I used to like that because back in like the 90s, it was the only way to get like widescreen versions of movies, because it was, you know, in the days before televisions were wide. They would crop movies and do pan and scan and all that, and it would be like murder on your eyes. Oh, Mumbles, of course you're in that Facebook group. Yeah, I've actually like put stuff up. I've taken pictures. Like I've been in I don't know, like some vintage shop, and there'll be a bin of Laserdiscs, and I'll post a picture. I'm like, hey, I was in this thing. Does anybody want these Laserdiscs? And some people hit me up, and then I'm like, wait, why am I offering this now? I gotta like go back there and buy these and then ship them out. But it was an expensive hobby too, because the players were expensive, and then if you wanted to buy a movie, it was like, I don't know, $40 for some movies. Some I remember buying the Star Wars trilogy box set, God, when I was like in high school, and it was like the definitive edition, and it had tons of bonus features. This is back in the day where like nobody even knew about bonus features. And it was like, I think it was like $250 at the time, which at the time might have been to me, that's like might have been like $2,500, but I saved up my money and I got it. So anyway, but yeah, I haven't been drinking much lately. It's funny. I don't drink when I'm depressed. I drink when I'm happy. Not that I'm saying I'm like super depressed, but I drink when I'm in a good mood. Like if I'm out to dinner, I'll have like a beer or something like that. And I'm mainly a beer drinker, mainly a lager drinker. Every now and again, I'll get like good like margarita or something like that. But I haven't been drinking all that much. Although you wouldn't know it from the size of my waist, am I right? But yeah. Are all those editions before George Lucas re-released them with all the ridiculous edits? Yeah, all before his digital graffiti went on those those ridiculous 97. Was it 97 when they put out the special editions? Yeah, I saw they're releasing Return of the Jedi for a week starting this Friday. I might see that because a friend of mine really wants to go, even though it's going to be that garbage edition with like all those changes that I guess they're not that bad in hindsight, but they're bad enough. And I have the like I have all the like original theatrical cuts on HD. You can watch at home, but it's something that he said about watching it on a big screen. But I'm also like a purist. Like I don't like. It's weird. I've seen all those original Star Wars movies about easily hundreds of times each, yet I don't like watching them out of sequence. Like I don't want to just go into Return of the Jedi, because it's the 40th anniversary, which is crazy to think about. 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. I remember, and I was in the 3rd grade when it came out, and it was one of the first bad things I ever really did. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I've done other bad things, but me and my friends had a coordinated effort to go see Return of the Jedi in the city, meaning New York City, because I grew up in Brooklyn, and this premiere theater that was playing it was called the Astor Plaza. It's where all the original Star Wars movies open. It's kind of like the New York City version of the Mann Chinese Theater. You can sometimes see pictures of like their big marquee with lines around the block and everything. So the movie opened on a Wednesday. I think the Wednesday before Memorial Day weekend. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, we had one friend with an older brother who called us all in sick and used different voices to call us all in sick. There were 4 of us, and we planned this for about a month. Because here's the deal: when I don't know what it was like for other people, but like my parents, and my friends' parents, like they would never take us to see a big movie opening before the movie came out. Not before, like when it came out, like opening weekend. You wanted to see a movie like opening weekend, and like maybe if you're lucky, my dad would take me to see a movie like, I don't know, the 2nd or 3rd week, depending on how the reviews were or whatever. Rare exceptions, but we weren't going to wait around for that. So we wanted to see it opening day. There was a 10 a.m. showing, and I remember I absolutely remember it was 10 a.m. So we had this whole plan where we were going to take a bus, the city bus, to go into the city. And our friend's older brother was coming with us. And again, he called us out because he had a adult enough voice to do so. We're all in the same class, whatever. We all had the same illness. And we played it so well that the day before we planned it, we started coughing in class, like randomly. I remember my teacher, her name was Miss Vining. She's got to be long dead. But we just like cough randomly in class. And actually, I actually had the balls to ask to go see the nurse towards the end of the day on like Tuesday, planning this big performance on, Wednesday, because I knew 4 of us were going to be missing from the class. That's a lot of kids to be missing from a class. So it made kind of sense. And of course, I played it up Tuesday night at home with my parents, and I got to go to bed early. I'm not feeling well. And then I woke up, like, I woke up the next day, like, not feeling well. And, but I struggled on as far as my mom was concerned because I had to go to school. I couldn't stay home. I was like, oh, I'll go to school. But in the event that the school contacted my house, then my mom at least knew that I was sick. I'm like, oh, he must have went to school, and possibly my great aunt picked me up or something. But you didn't plan for those too many contingency plans. So we all walked to our normal bus stop early, and then ditched the bus stop, and then we went to the Kings Plaza Mall, which is in Brooklyn. It was like the big mall in Brooklyn where you got the city buses. And we were all in our school uniforms, and we had to take our tie off because we went to it was a Catholic school, so we had to take our ties off and like kind of dress a little casual, so it didn't look like you were ditching school, at the movie theater. Even though when we got to the movie theater, everybody knew we were ditching school, and everybody was like cool with it. Like there was a huge line of people waiting to see Return of the Jedi, and at the time it was like the new Star Wars, like, you didn't know anything, like we didn't see any trailers for it or anything. There was just like posters, and I don't even think there was TV ads for it or anything like that. Even the reviews didn't come out until that following, to that weekend after it came out. So we took the bus, and it was exciting, and now in hindsight, I would murder my kid if they did that. But, but we got to the theater, and it was just one of those things. There was no buying tickets in advance. You waited till the theater opened, and there was already a really long line, but we were there pretty early because, imagine we're ditching school, so we'd get the bus at like whatever 7 something in the morning. So by the time we got to the theater, I don't know, maybe it was like 8:30, and there was already people there. But everybody online was really cool. And by the way, if we didn't make the 10 a.m., we would have gone to the, whatever the next showing was. We were seeing that movie that day. And we got in. And there was actually, I think somebody actually bought us like popcorn. Because, all we had with us was our lunch money that you would go to school with. So that was enough to buy the tickets. And the tickets at that time, I don't remember what they were, but they were not anywhere near what they are now. And I remember sitting in the theater with my friends from school. And when the movie started, we just felt like we got away with the greatest thing ever. It was like Ocean's 11, like taking down a casino. Like we just won at life. And, we were just over the moon for it. And beaming. And then we had to, leave and then figure out what else to do with the day. And we went to an arcade, and then it was time to get the bus back to Kings Plaza. And then we hung out in Kings Plaza Mall until it was time to walk home in the direction that our bus stop would be. And right around the time we would get home, and I don't remember exactly what that would be, maybe, 3:00 or something like that. And then how was school? Oh, it was fine. I'd keep that to yourself. To this day, I've never told my dad that. I've never, obviously my mom's passed away. I never told her. But my mom was of the thing, like if I would have told her and she was still alive, she'd be mad at me now. Like she would not laugh at that. And then we went into school the next day, which was a Thursday. And then word got around what we did, and then it got a little scary. Like, oh shit, someone's going to tell the teacher's going to call our parents. But that never happened. It never spread enough where we got in trouble. But anyway, Return of the Jedi, for all its flaws, has a very special place in my heart because of that. So I'll always think about that. So I'll probably go see it because it's rare that they play. I was really annoyed because they played Empire Strikes Back 3 years ago for that 40th anniversary, but it was like this summer, and it was like COVID still, and half the theaters across the country weren't open. New York theaters weren't open. They didn't open until like that October, and I couldn't see it. There was one theater in New Jersey that was playing it that I remember was like a 2-hour drive, and I was like, Jesus, is it worth going there for 2 hours? And I decided it wasn't, but I couldn't. Dr. Victor says, I remember watching one of the Rocky films and everyone was standing and shouting in the cinema like a proper boxing match. Yeah, my dad tells a great story about that, where he went with a friend of his from the Firehouse, the first Rocky, and the same thing. Like they saw it in like Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, which is kind of not far from where they worked in the Firehouse, and it was like basically full of Italian guys, and right when Rocky first opened, and he says like yeah, it was like a match. Like people were up out of their seats, standing in the theater, cheering for Rocky to beat this guy, and let's just say there might have been some N bombs dropped in that theater by some of the patrons. Like it was like a real, 1970s match, and Rock. Think of Eddie Murphy's routine in Raw about the Rocky series, which always makes me laugh. But yeah, you don't get that anymore. Like that cinematic experience where like people are just like so enthralled with it because people are so desensitized now to everything. It's nothing special anymore. Like even when was the last movie that really blew you away? That was a new movie where you saw something new. I didn't see the new John Wick, but I've heard from a couple of people that it's just not as good as the previous three because I think it's hard to top that. It's hard to bring that kind of thing to the table. There's a couple movies I'm looking forward to seeing. I definitely want to see the next Mission Impossible because I'm a big Tom Cruise fan, and I want to see Indiana Jones, even though I go in with extreme trepidation with that. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least looking forward to that. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I should probably sign off. It's 4:30 my time, as Perry would say, and it has been a long day. But thanks for hanging out and letting me detox from Perry's craziness. Perry was in a rare form tonight in a way that sometimes the stars align and he gets like he's just shot out of a cannon the entire time. Even when I was telling him that he still had to do that hot tub stream, which he does, by the way, I thought he might have cut the boat or something like that, and he was like, I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. Rocky is one of the greatest movies ever made and should never have sequels, according to Bobby Heenan. I can see where you're coming from on that, but Rocky 2 is a legit good sequel. Rocky 2 is almost like a extended epilogue to Rocky. What about Rocky 2? Are you going to say that about Rocky 2? There's some I agree that some movie that you can make up a whole list of them, movies that should have never had a sequel, but I really like Rocky 2. I think Rocky 2 goes much deeper into the characters. It gives you the ending that you kind of wanted from the first movie, and it pays service. And after that, like Rocky 3, Sylvester Stallone is pretty much playing himself at that point. He's kind of lost touch with that Rocky character. 4 is like a big music video, and 5 is not terrible because he kind of gets the Rocky character back, but the movie's great. And then the one that came out, I don't know, God, it's probably about 15 years ago. Rocky Balboa, I think, is really good, but you could leave it alone. Like, also, you could say the same about Star Wars. Star Wars is the first Star Wars. I refuse to call it anything else. It's Star Wars. It's the only movie that doesn't need any other movies to tell its story. It's got a beginning and a middle and an end. You can't say about any other Star Wars movie in that series. Empire Strikes Back needs Star Wars and Return of the Jedi to tell its story. Star Wars stands on its own. You could see Star Wars and never see another Star Wars movie, and it's perfect. So you could say that about a lot of movies, and I there's a whole thing about that. But yeah. So he says, "Night, everybody. Good night, Tom. You son of a bitch." Yeah. Well, I'll let you guys know how Perry is tomorrow. What kind of Perry is? Once in a while, he'll call me the day after one of these streams, and he'll be like, we're done. We're done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I can't go through the abuse. I can't go through, once in a rare while, but otherwise he's pretty. My guess is that he'll probably be business as usual And then I'll be the one to bring up, like, Perry, you were a maniac last night. Yeah, huh? Like it's not that big of a deal. I'll see. If it's worth recording, I'll record it. Not every call with Perry is recorded, but if I have a vibe that it's that kind of thing, maybe I will. I'll see. I'll see. We'll see how he is. He seemed okay by the end. Like he got over like the absolute craziness. Whatever. It's just I don't want to have to do like I wish he could pull that on Fridays because Fridays are much easier for me. Like Mondays, there's so much going on with the media share and everything like that. It's just it makes it so much harder with his antics. And like I said, I think I was extra annoyed tonight because of how much time I've put into him this past week alone. I mean, I put time into him every week. I mean, who are we kidding? I don't have any days off from Perry, but especially last week, like taking care of a lot of things that he wasn't able to take care of on his own. And I love how that goes out the window when he's just, But, listen, Perry's crazy. We know that. And he can't compartmentalize. And when he gets mad at the stream, he's going to take it out on me and everybody watching. I really don't like it, though. Even though I see it as funny in hindsight, I really don't like when he gives the middle finger to those subscriber notifications. Fuck you for subscribing. Like just some innocent person that unfortunately subscribed to Perry at the wrong time. I don't like that. But I think you guys get it. He's not thing. What does he think he's going at an ATM at this hour? He just basically puts his card in and sees that his account balance is, what it should be. That's all he does. He obviously can't talk to anybody. So I'm assuming he did that because that's what he said he was doing early. What if Tom snapped as often as Perry and Tom says he's going to shut the computer down? That would make for a painful experience for all of us, I think. Yeah, I got to change the algorithm of the Hail Satan one because that's coming up way too early. When we first set up Stream Elements, like a year ago, that was supposed to come up as like an Easter egg, like once in a rare while. It's coming up a lot lately. I think I'm changing all that stuff around. We're having kind of a refresh. There's going to be a PCL 3.0, hopefully in the near future. Our friend Rafe, who Perry generously hired back, is working on a lot of cool stuff, like different overlays, definitely a lot of new emotes coming to Twitch and YouTube as well. But I want to redesign some of those sound elements, that get a little played out after time. So I want to see what we do with that Hail Satan one. It just comes up a little too frequently. And he doesn't understand how to process that. He just hears that and he's like, how our boy is. So anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Especially thanks for hanging out after hours. I don't see our pal Soviet Goat, but have a good thought for Soviet Goat. He actually is in the hospital right now. He missed the stream on Friday, which is very rare. And I'm sure that upset him as much as it upset us that he wasn't around. So let's have a good thought for our friend Soviet Goat, who's recouping, and hopefully he rests up and is back to his good old warm and lovable self. So thanks. Thanks, Grimace. You get some rest too, pal. And I hope I'll tell you the truth. I would play it now if I wasn't signing off. But so on Patreon, I put up a call that Perry left me. This is like 2 weeks ago, pre-attack, where he was complaining about Rappin' Randy. And Rappin' Randy has been in my head so hard for the past 2 weeks, especially, where I actually went back to the songs and played it beginning to end purely for my own enjoyment. And it was that first one, well, God damn it, I'm just gonna play it because I'm talking about it. I'll go out with this. It was the one where you know, where it's like we were hanging in my office. Like I just had to hear it, and I was annoyed that it was so short. Like it was so goddamn great. So anyway, shout outs to Rappin' Randy. I legit there's certain things that just get me. I know different people gravitate towards different things. When Rappin' Randy first came on the screen, I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe it was a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago. And he was just like rapping. I just as sick to death, and I am sick to death of '92 stuff. That was just like a new spin on an old thing, and I was just like, oh, I love it. So I'll go out with that. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. I know it's crazy to listen to me ramble on like this. So I appreciate it. It's a good way for me to detox from Perry's craziness, and if you guys enjoy it too and participate, that's awesome. So thanks for hanging out. We'll see you one way or the other. I tried to get Perry to agree to a Wednesday stream this week. I don't think that's going to happen. He does some have appointments on Wednesday. Oh, that's also why we couldn't do a makeup. We said maybe we'd make up last Monday on Wednesday. Perry did have a lot of appointments on Wednesday. It just wasn't thing. Ooh, there's a new Randy coming. I was actually making up one in my head. I actually made my own rapping Randy in my head, and as I was playing it in my head, I could hear his voice, and I kind of want like the full album. So I want Rappin' Randy merch if you're up for that. Anyway, I should go. I'm so tired. I'm drunk at this point. But anyway, here's some Rappin' Randy for all you cool cats. We'll see you on Friday from Mailbag Friday. I'll update you on Patreon if he has anything to say tomorrow, but your guess is as good as mine on that one. All right, I love you guys. PCL for life. And Perry will be in Pottstown despite what he says.
I'm Randy Callahan, and I'm here to say Perry set me off in a major way. His penis got hard, so you know he's gay. Got his psyched out just then he went away. Alone in my office, chilling and such. In came Perry in a major rush. Pulled off my trousers and he went to town. He went down, down, down. Happened in my office, 1992. Checked out my pants, Perry started the chew. Licked off his lips when you knew he was through. That's how it happened, you know that it's true. Happened in my office, 1992. Checked out my pants, Perry started the chew. Licked off his lips when you knew he was through. That's how it happened, you know that it's true. Happened in my office, the curtain was drawn. Perry dancing around in a tiny thong. How could his mad love be so wrong? That's why I'm singing you this little song.
I love sucking Randy's cock. 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 I love sucking Randy's. I love sucking Randy's cock.
Perry swallowed my milkshake that day.